Welcome back to the Foundation series. In the last video, we explored the four worlds, the four levels of reality through which creation descends from the infinite into the physical. And within that teaching, I mentioned something in passing that we are going to open up fully today. The soul levels, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshamah, and today we go further into Chayah and Yechidah, the 5 levels of the soul. This is one of the most practical teachings in all of Kabbalah. Not practical in the sense of technique, practical in the sense that it tells you what you are. It gives you a map of your own inner architecture. And once you have that map, you stop confusing the vehicle for the driver. You stop mistaking one layer of yourself for the whole thing. The Zohar teaches that the human being is not a body with a soul. The human being is a soul with multiple layers of depth, temporarily dressed in a body. And each layer of that soul connects to a different level of reality, a different world, a different dimension of the divine. You are not one thing. You are 5 things nested inside each other. And most people spend their entire lives only aware of the outermost layer. Let's start where life starts. Nefesh. Nefesh is the vital soul, the animating force. It's what makes the difference between a living body and a dead one. Nefesh is the breath, the blood, the instinct. It is the part of you that hungers, that fears, that desires, that reacts. Every living creature has nefesh. Animals, insects, everything that moves and breathes. Nefesh is life itself at its most basic. In the Zohar, nefesh enters the body at birth. It is bound to the physical world, to asiyah. It doesn't contemplate. It doesn't worship, it survives. And there is nothing wrong with that. Nefesh is the foundation. Without it, nothing above it has a place to land. You cannot have a spiritual life without first having a life. Nefesh is the ground you stand on. But the Zohar is also honest about nefesh limitations. Because nefesh is bound to the body, it is the level of soul most susceptible to the Yetzer Hara, the inclination that pulls you toward immediate gratification, toward selfishness, toward the animal within. Not because nefesh is evil, but because nefesh doesn't see beyond itself. Its horizon is survival, comfort, desire. And if you live only from nefesh, only from instinct and appetite, you are alive, but you are asleep. You are breathing, but you are not yet awake. The next level is Ruach. Ruach means spirit or wind. It is the emotional and moral soul, where nefesh asks, "What do I want?" Ruach asks, "What is right?" Ruach is the part of you that feels the pull of conscience, that responds to beauty, that is stirred by injustice, that loves not just from need, but from something deeper, from a sense that love is the correct response to being alive. Ruach corresponds to the world of Yetzer, the world of formation, of emotional pattern. And in the body, Ruach is associated with the heart, not the physical organ, the inner heart, the center of moral awareness. When the Zohar speaks of the heart of a person being aroused toward the divine, it's speaking about Ruach awakening. Ruach is where the inner battle takes place. Nefesh pulls downward toward the body, toward comfort, toward sleep. Neshamah, which sits above, pulls upward toward God, toward truth, toward transcendence. And Ruach is the battleground between them. This is why so much of spiritual life is about what you feel and what you choose to feel. Because the emotional realm, Ruach, is where the war is won or lost. It's not about what you know, it's about what moves you and what you refuse to be moved by. The Zohar says that when a person refines their Ruach, when they bring their emotional life into alignment with the divine will, they earn access to what sits above, Neshamah. Neshamah is the intellectual soul, but not intellectual the way we use the word in the modern world, not academic, not analytical. The Neshamah is the part of you that knows God, not believes in God, not thinks about God, knows the way you know you exist, the way you know fire is hot before you touch it, direct, unmediated. Neshamah corresponds to the world of Beriah, creation, the realm of the throne, the realm of the higher mind. And the Zohar says that Neshamah does not enter a person automatically. Nefesh is given at birth. Ruach develops as a person matures and begins to make moral choices. But Neshamah is earned. It descends into a person when they have purified their Nefesh and their Ruach sufficiently to receive it. The Zohar in Parashat Mishpatim gives a remarkable teaching. It says that on the night that a righteous person merits their Neshamah, the heavens open and the higher soul descends like a bride entering her wedding chamber. It doesn't arrive through effort. It arrives through readiness. You do not pull the Neshamah down. You prepare the space. You clean the vessel. And she comes on her own. And when the Neshamah is present, everything changes. Perception deepens. Torah opens in ways that were invisible before. Prayer stops being words and becomes communion. The person begins to see the inner structure of reality, not with the eyes, but with the Neshamah. This is what the Zohar means when it says certain teachings are only understood by those who possesses a Neshamah. It's not elitism, it's optics. Some frequencies require a certain receiver. Now, we enter territory that the Zohar approaches with great reverence. Chayah. Chayah means living essence, and it corresponds to the world of Atzilut, the realm of pure emanation, where there is no separation between the light and its source. Chayah is the level of soul that is not inside you. It surrounds you. It hovers above. It is your connection to the undifferentiated divine, the part of you that was never separated from God in the first place. Most people will never consciously experience Chayah. It operates beyond thought, beyond emotion, beyond even the direct knowing of the Neshamah. Chayah is the life force before it becomes your life force. It is the will to exist that precedes your personal will. It is the deepest yes, the yes that said you should be before you had any say in the matter. The Zohar associates Chayah with Chokhmah, the seminal flash of wisdom. And just as Chokhmah is a point that contains everything in compressed form, Chayah is the level of soul that holds your entire destiny in a single seed. Everything you are meant to become, everything your soul came here to accomplish, is encoded in Chayah. You don't access it through meditation or technique. You access it through total self-nullification, which is called Bittul, the same quality we discussed in relation to Atzilut. When the ego dissolves completely, even for a moment, Chayah is what remains. It is the you that exists when you get out of the way. And finally, the highest level, Yechidah. Yechidah means the singular one, the unique essence, and it corresponds to Keter, the crown, the point of absolute unity between the soul and its creator. At the level of Yechidah, there is no distinction between you and God. Not because you become God, but because at this level, the boundary between creature and creator is so thin, so transparent, that it effectively does not exist. The Zohar barely speaks of Yechidah directly. It's that hidden. It's the level that even the Zohar approaches through silence and allusion rather than description. Because Yechidah cannot be described. It can only be pointed toward. It is the root of the root of the root of the soul, the innermost point that touches Ein Sof itself. And here's what makes this teaching so profound. You already have Yechidah. It's not something you acquire. It's not a reward for spiritual achievement. It is the core of what you are right now, at this very moment, and it has never been separate from God, not for a single instant. The only reason you don't experience it is because the outer layers, Nefesh, Ruach, even Neshamah, create the experience of separation. But at the level of Yechidah, separation is an illusion. It always has been. Now, see them together. 5 levels. Nefesh, the body's life. Ruach, the heart's moral fire. Neshamah, the mind's direct knowing of God. Chayah, the transpersonal life force that surrounds you. Yechidah, the singular point of union with the infinite. And they correspond to the entire structure we have built in this series. Nefesh is Asiyah, Ruach is Yetzer, Neshamah is Beriah, Chayah is Atzilut, Yechidah is the Ein Sof itself, or more precisely, the point where the soul touches Ein Sof. The soul recapitulates the cosmos. The four worlds don't only exist out there, they exist in here, in you. You are a walking map of all creation, from the densest matter to the most intimate proximity to God. And the spiritual path, the real one, the one the Zohar is pointing to in every passage, is not about going somewhere else. It is about waking up to what is already present. Nefesh is already breathing in you. Ruach is already steering your conscience. Neshamah is already waiting to descend, or has already descended, and is waiting to be recognized. Chayah is already surrounding you like an invisible field, and Yechidah, the deepest point, has never moved, never wavered, never been anything other than one with its source. The work is not to climb. The work is to uncover, layer by layer, garment by garment, until you realize that what was underneath all along was not hidden from you. You were hidden from it. In the next video, we take everything from this series, the Sephirot, the worlds, the soul levels, and bring it all together through the Partzuvim, the divine faces. How the Zohar doesn't just give us a structure, it gives us a family, a living, breathing, relating family of divine personalities. That's where the architecture becomes alive. I will see you in the next video. Shalom.